What is it about apartments? Is it the fact that so many people have passed through, leaving something behind? Or that some may have taken their last breath within those walls? In tonight's episode, you'll hear 3 true scary stories from haunted apartments and rental properties, where people report footsteps with no one there, shadowy figures, their name whispered and sometimes shouted right into their ear, and even hearing a friend's voice from another room while that friend is sitting right beside them. Let's get into it. So, this happened back in 2019, and it still bothers me years later. I've never really believed in ghosts or anything like that, and I still question it, but this whole experience has definitely rattled me. My partner at the time and I moved into a small detached unit on a block with one other unit. It was pretty normal from the outside, but inside it had some odd quirks. When you walked in the front door, you entered this weird little garden lounge that seemed to be part of the original building. From there, you stepped up into the kitchen, then straight through to the lounge room. Off to the left were spare bedrooms, and to the right was a badly built porch. If you turned left at the kitchen, you'd pass the main bathroom and enter the master bedroom, which had a small ensuite. Walking through that room led to a small extra room that was clearly an extension, even though it used the same brick as the rest of the house. The strange thing was the floor. It had these intricate blue tiles that clashed with the gray tiles everywhere else. I always kept that door shut to the tiled back room because it was creepy and an uncomfortable space. One morning around 9 a.m., I was lying in bed with my girlfriend. The master bedroom shared a wall with the garage. We heard a tapping sound that I assumed was a pipe or something. As a joke, she tapped back, and it tapped back again. I tried tapping in a bit of a rhythm, and it copied that too. We both took turns, and every time it matched what we did. Eventually we got bored and just assumed it was plumbing or something. Later that day, it hit me that the wall was just solid brick. It was part of a later addition, and there shouldn't have been any pipes in it. A few weeks later, I was home alone. It was about 8 p.m. and completely dark. I was studying in my home office, which was one of the spare bedrooms off the lounge. My girlfriend was out with a friend, and I was expecting her back soon. I heard the front door open, then footsteps through the kitchen and into the living room. I called out to her, but got no response. I figured maybe she wasn't in the mood to talk and just wanted to sit on the couch, so I kept studying. Then the footsteps came into the office. Right next to my ear, I heard a man's voice say my name in a harsh, gravelly tone. I spun around, thinking it was someone messing with me, but the room was completely empty. At the time, I was doing shift work, so I told myself I was just overtired. About a week later, we were sitting on the couch watching TV, again around 8 p.m. Both office doors were open, and from where we were sitting, you could see straight out her office window into the backyard. I got up to grab a drink and saw a man's face outside the window, just looking in. He looked like a white, bald man. The area wasn't the best, so I assumed someone was checking the place out. I grabbed a torch and ran outside to look around, but there was no one there. A few days later, again around 8 p.m., we were lying in bed on our phones. Out of nowhere, the sliding doors to the porch started making this insanely loud, chaotic noise, like someone was trying to force them open. It honestly sounded like what I imagined an earthquake would be like. We both ran out to the lounge and looked at the doors. They were still locked, and everything on the porch was completely undisturbed. That's when my girlfriend told me it had actually happened a few times before, both during the day and at night when I'd been at work. Some other things we began to notice while living there was that the house would go from being a pleasant temperature to freezing cold. Not long after that, our relationship started to fall apart. We ended up breaking up, but stayed on decent terms. We broke the lease and planned to move out over the next few weeks. Nothing else really happened during that time. Then came moving day. By that night, around 8 p.m. again, Everything was out except for the last few things. I went back alone to grab them and do a final check. As soon as I walked in, I could smell something warm and familiar. It was beef bourguignon, which was my ex's favorite thing to cook. That's when I felt like something wasn't right. I rushed to the house, grabbed the last few things, and threw them in the back of my truck. As I stepped back and looked at the place to make sure all the lights were off, I glanced at the tall window next to the front door. Standing there was a tall, dark, slender figure, clear as day. I got in the truck, started it, and drove off straight away. I don't think I've ever taken a deeper breath in my life. I never went back. It still bothers me to this day. What the hell was going on? We moved into this apartment a little over 2 years ago. Everything was great, then we started hearing tapping at night. I work in construction, so I inspect to the best of my ability and find nothing. We called maintenance for the apartment and they find nothing. They tell me maybe squirrels or rats. They send a pest control company. They service the apartment, but the tech finds nothing. The tapping stops for a while, maybe a month goes by, then it comes back, and we start getting creeped out. It's inconsistent. I can't replicate it no matter what I do. Sometimes it sounds like someone slapping the floor with their bare hand. Then, while my wife and I are trying to fall asleep, we hear a slam coming from the living room. A box of pens was on the floor. The pens were supposed to be put away in a drawer. We were very confused. Since we don't use pens like that, it's just a box for replenishing our work pens. At the same time, we were trying to process and come to a logical explanation for how the box of pens slammed to the floor, otherwise known as my wife blaming me for forgetting. We hear a loud tap on our bedroom window. We rush over, and nothing. The pattern I notice is tapping or something occurs for 2 to 3 days, then nothing will happen. Then it comes back, and repeat. So time passes. It almost fully stops. Then my wife leaves for a work trip. I'm home alone for a week, and this thing just terrorizes me the entire time. Opening and closing doors, tapping at times. It's obsessed with small objects as well. Turning bathroom lights off, missing items like watches and rings. I lost a ring that was a gift from my late mother, so I feel personally attacked. The final nail is, I was getting ready for sleep. I close my door, lock it, and go to sleep. I wake up, and my door is fully open. I felt violated and crazy, to be honest. I lasted 3 days before I was fully convinced this apartment is haunted. This is when I start thinking, maybe this is a trickster spirit. This has been happening on top of my wife and I having weird dreams, mostly relating to dead relatives coming back to life or just straight up nightmares. The house has a very dark energy and also very negative all of a sudden. And I tried deep cleaning, getting new furniture, trying to be positive. Even when things get hard, nothing helped. My theory is a trickster spirit, but I don't know anything about this stuff to be real, besides internet research, I guess. We are moving when the lease ends, but afraid of it being attached to me due to its behavior when my wife was away. Friends are telling us to cleanse, and they refuse to come over after we told them. Recently, we are avoiding even acknowledging the tapping, the items disappearing, or the slams at night, because we heard talking to it would make it worse, so we figured ignoring everything is the best course of action. The final thing that was noted in the story is that there's often an odor, something like sewage or rotten fruit. It's like a sweeter stink, if you can imagine, and he wasn't quite sure how to explain it. But if anybody has any suggestions for what they think it might be, I think you're onto something with the trickster spirit. But if anybody can help out in the comments, that would be much appreciated. About a year ago, 2 friends and I moved into a brand new apartment building. It had just been finished, and almost no one lived there yet. The hallways echoed when you walked, the lights flickered sometimes, and most nights the whole building felt completely empty. One evening we were standing in the lobby talking. Suddenly we heard a voice from above us, from somewhere around the 7th floor. It clearly called out one of our names. At first, I thought it was one of my friends messing with us, but then we all looked at each other at the exact same time. None of us had spoken. The voice sounded exactly like one of us. We slowly walked to the elevator and went up to the 7th floor. The entire floor was dark and empty. No furniture, no people, just the sound of wind moving through the unfinished hallway. We checked every corner. Nothing. After we moved in, strange things kept happening. Sometimes late at night, we would hear footsteps in the hallway outside our door, even though no other apartments were occupied yet. One night the elevator stopped on our floor at 3:17 a.m. The doors opened, but no one was there. Another time my friend heard someone whisper his name while he was alone in the kitchen. He thought we were playing a prank, but both of us were asleep in our rooms. The strangest moment happened a few weeks later. We were sitting in the living room when we heard that same voice again from the stairwell. It sounded exactly like our friend, but he was sitting right next to us. To this day, none of us can explain who or what was calling from the empty floors. And sometimes I still wonder what would have happened if we had followed that voice deeper into the building that night. Thank you so much for spending your time with me here, especially if you stayed all the way to the end. It truly means more than you know. If you enjoyed these true scary stories about haunted apartments and rental properties, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video so more listeners can join us. And if you have a true scary story of your own, I'd love to hear it. You can send it to the email in my description or submit it through the form in the About section. Until next time, keep the lights low, and I'll meet you again in the dead of night.